Scott, how would you describe this class that you recruited today?
I'm really excited about this class. I think the thing that excited me the most was flying around the country for the last 2 weeks, getting in homes with these guys and seeing what type of kids they are, what kind of personalities they have. Best thing about them is they love football, they love the game, they're excited, they want to be at Nebraska. I would walk out almost every house and say, you know, we got a chance to win a lot of games with kids like this coming to the program.
Did you see this finishing kick coming, or was it anxious a week or two ago?
It was anxious. It just kind of fell this year that a lot of the kids that we really were invested in and wanted in our program were making late decisions. You know, I heard all the talk early on about how we were behind, and we kind of knew that, but we were kind of betting on ourselves in recruiting and had a lot of really good targets out there, and luckily we were able to land quite a few of them.
Was it a challenge to maybe manage your numbers with how you wanted to play your last few spots in the class?
Yeah, we were making decisions on that clear up to last night and even this morning, trying to decide how many NLIs to send out, where to send them, trying to decide which kids were in and which were out, and how many spots we might want to hold over to the late signing period and beyond. So we're making those decisions right up until really this morning, and there was a lot of balls in the air, but I'm really happy with our recruiting staff and our coaching staff with how they came through in the end.
Can you specifically get into Travis Fisher and the job he did specifically in Florida?
Yeah, T-Fish, I got to tell you, every year there's a superstar on our staff in recruiting. This year, he's one of the top guys. He has a lot of relationships down in Florida from his time there, both in North Florida where he grew up and down south where he's recruited for a long time. He knocked it out of the park this year, and that's really valuable for a football team to have a coach that can go out of state like that and bring in the type of talent that he brought in.
Did you see anything about his style that makes him effective?
Yeah, Coach Fish cares about the guys deeply. You know, he doesn't just stop into high schools and tell kids that we want them at Nebraska. I think the relationships that he builds are strong, and it takes a lot of that to pull kids out of a state like Florida to come to Lincoln, Nebraska, and he's the type of guy that people want to play for.
Did you have to fight some rumors about him today, a particular recruit, about Travis Fish? I saw his tweet that he made about being at Nebraska for 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much about details, but you know, this process is tough on a lot of recruits. It's tough on 18-year-olds. I think sometimes they have to sort out rumors and truths and falsehoods, and in some situations that can go right up till signing day and when they put their name on the paper. So that's just kind of how recruiting goes, and I'm just glad Coach Fish is going to be with us for a long time.
In regard to that, did you get a chance to talk with Francois today during that process or after he made the announcement?
Yeah, I actually talked to Jaden when he was off stage, and then texted with him a bunch after he came back out, and he's fired up. He'll be on campus really soon as one of the early enrollees, and expect him to come in hungry and hopefully contribute right away.
Were there nervous moments there? I mean, for you, as you saw all that unfold in that gym, did you get nervous?
Yeah, a little bit nervous. You're nervous for all these guys until it's done. You know, you kind of feel like a shepherd. You're trying to keep the flock together and keep anybody from coming in and stealing one. And the thing we always have going for us, and we will, is we tell the truth in recruiting, and we're honest and genuine in recruiting. So if there's a situation where there's a rumor about something like there was a rumor about today, we're going to tell the truth, and we did tell the truth, and usually that wins out.
You said 4 junior college players. I guess you could add more. When you sign a junior college player, what are you hoping from that to happen quickly, and what do you think about the guys that you've already signed?
Well, you know, we're going to get to a point in this program where we're not probably going to look to sign very many. I think we'll look to sign a junior college player if they're a great player, and if we have a need at the position. We kind of felt like we needed a little immediate help at certain spots, receiver being one, and maybe pass rusher. So we went out and got some guys. I think the lesson we've learned over time as coaches is we have to make sure we're getting the right guys from the junior college ranks too. And love the character and personality of the kids we got. We got Deontay Williams as an example of a kid we got from a junior college that is the right kind of guy on top of being the right kind of player, and those are the type of guys we want.
Is Omar Manning a player you would have signed regardless of what age or year he was at?
Yeah, Omar, I'm really excited about. We all year we kind of wished we were a little more productive at our outside receiver spot, and that's one place where we thought we wanted a guy that could come in and potentially help us right away. There wasn't a better guy in the country, in my opinion, for what we were looking for than him. He looks different than anybody I've ever coached and has tape to match. So I'm really excited to get him. He's got a little work to do yet before he gets to campus, but I think he has a chance to change our offense.
Scott, you got a quarterback, Logan Smothers. Can you talk about what impressed you about him?
The best meal I might have ever had on a recruiting visit was at Logan's house. His mother and grandmother made us some good Southern food, some barbecue, some fried okra, some green beans. So he was already one of my favorites, but that helped him climb the list real fast. We look for quarterbacks that throw it well, that can run, and that have the right mentality. Logan's a guy that understands the game, had a really good junior year, unbelievable senior year. And I've said this a couple times already today, but really impressed me and all of us with his toughness and what he did in the playoffs in Alabama. So he's a guy we had to hold some people off on late that we're trying to get back in on him. But he's an early enrollee too, and I expect him to come in and compete right away.
Scott, you mentioned this a couple of years ago, but is there something, just generally speaking, that a recruit could do that would make you want to move away from recruit?
Yeah, there are things that would make us shy away from recruits anytime we found out about them, absolutely. And most of those things have to do with character most of the time. But, when you have spots available right up to the end, you're trying to make decisions on who the best player is and also, which player would help the team the most based on what we already have. So there's decisions to be made all through the recruiting process, and sometimes they go right up to the end.
How do you feel about what you got done at linebacker?
I think getting Keyshawn Green out of Florida really helped solidify what we got there. We got Va from California. Thought we needed to add a little depth to the inside linebacker room. He's really a run and hit guy that we're excited about. I have no doubt he's going to help our football team. Keyshawn is an unusual athlete. When you watch his tape, just his ability to close to the football and make plays is pretty special. That was a tough get, and he came up to Lincoln last weekend and fell in love with it and is anxious to get back. Outside linebacker is definitely a position that we wanted to address. Kind of started this whole thing off with Blaze Gunnerson from Iowa, and huge compliment, but if I have a son, I do have a son. So someday I hope he's as big as Blaze, but I also hope he's that good a kid. So we're excited about him. Nico Cooper's just a specimen of an outside linebacker that we think could play in a lot of different places for us and help out with pass rush. And then Jamari Butler is another kid that we got late from Alabama. Another kid that when you walk in with the room with him, you can see the potential there. And his tape's really good too, and he shows a lot of ability to get after the quarterback. So we felt like we needed to improve ourselves in that area and really like who we got.
You guys have really remade the wide receiver room over the last couple of years. What do you think is a fair expectation for that group over this next year? What do you want to see them accomplish?
That's one position, I think, wide receiver, where we need to improve. Obviously, we have a couple really good pieces. JD's been a phenomenal player around here for a long time, and we're lucky to have him back another season. I'm excited to coach a guy that could be the all-time leading receiver in Nebraska history and have a piece of that as his coach. Really impressed with his toughness and what he's done for his entire career at Nebraska. Obviously, Wandale, everybody saw what he can do this year. Was ashamed to have him a little hurt at the end of the year, but we're excited about what he can bring next year. I think we got a lot of young receivers in the program already that we're excited to work with in spring. When you look at that position, And just being honest, when we came in as coaching staff, we really only had 4 wide receivers on scholarship. We usually carry 10 or 11. So that was the position just by numbers that we kind of had to rebuild. And feel good about this class and where it's going to take us. We talked about Omar, Marques Flemmings, another kid from Florida that Fish did an unbelievable job recruiting. He can really go. Played on one of the best teams in Florida this year and was one of their stars. They won a state championship. Gosh, you talk about a kid that just oozes his love for football. He just loves being out there, and I think if you asked him to play on a parking lot cement track, he'd go out and play football. And I think he's got a chance to help us and help us quick. We landed a bunch of guys at a bunch of different positions. I think Will Nixon's a kid from Texas. I love coaches' kids, and his dad is a coach at Baylor. Baylor did an unbelievable job this year. Jeff is his dad. I think he's already starting to learn our offense because of what Jeff knows about it. I think he's a guy that could play multiple spots for us, inside receiver, outside receiver, running back, a bunch of different places, and I think he's going to pick it up really fast. So we're excited about him. And then getting Alante Brown late was big for us too. Kind of the same type of guy. I think he can carry the ball for us. I think he can play inside. I think he can play outside. Changes direction really well. Has really good hands. It's also physical, and I think we did a lot to upgrade that position.
Does the fact that Smothers walks into kind of a relatively loaded quarterback situation does that suggest anything about him?
Yeah, I think it suggests that he's willing to compete. I want guys that want to compete, and when you talk about the best programs in the country, usually they're already loaded with people at position, and kids that have the right frame of mind want to come in and win the job anyway. And we hit it off with Logan right away. Mario and him have an unbelievable relationship. He's the type of kid I want on our team and the type of kid I want to coach. And we're going to get started with him right away in January.
You mentioned the toughness. A lot of these guys are in love of the game and being winners. Were those 3 of the most important characteristics, other than obviously talent, to bring guys?
Yeah, you can evaluate kids from afar, watching highlight tapes and watching game tape, and I think we got people on our staff that are really good at evaluating the talent. What's harder is to go into the high school and see which kids are the type of kids that are going to fight through anything, and that'll play football anytime, anywhere, and just love the game and love to compete. And we need more of those guys. I think we landed a bunch of them in this class. I want guys that want to be around the team all the time, that want to be around the game all the time, and that are going to fight for what they want no matter what. And that really comes down to toughness and love for football.
What did you think of your walk-on class? How many, I think you got 19. What do you think of those guys?
Yeah, the walk-on class helped us a lot this year. I think in starting next year, it's just going to get to a point where it's helping us more and more. I think that level of support from the walk-on program and contribution from the walk-on program is going to increase every year. It's kind of highlighted, I think, by Isaac Gifford from right here in town. Gosh, we're so excited to have him on the team. Just as excited as we are for anybody else we got today. And he's going to be an early enrollee too, so he's going to make us better right away. I think also Hahn from down in southeast Nebraska is a receiver that is good as a lot of scholarship guys around the country. Just played 8-man football, and he's right down the road. But guys like that are going to come in and help. Really like this walk-on class. I mentioned 2 guys, but there's a lot of guys from around the state and around the area that are coming here as walk-ons, and I think this might be as good a class as we've had since we've been here.
Are you still waiting on any letters in the 72-hour early period at this point?
Yeah, I think there's still 1, maybe 2 that one we're waiting on for sure, and maybe 1 more that we would accept if it comes. We kind of made a decision that in a perfect world we'd still have a spot or 2 left going forward, just to see what's available. Didn't know if we were going to get to that number for sure or not, but it looks like we're going to. So there's still some targets out there for us, and we'll see where those land.
Scott, you know how competitive the recruiting is in the state of Florida. How tough were those battles? And I guess, what do you think the message that you guys were bringing there was effective with this?
Recruiting in Florida for a long time, there's some kids that I don't think it serves them well to leave the state. There's others that probably the best thing in the world for them is to get out of there and go be their own man somewhere else. I think we focused on the right kids. We focused on kids that were anxious to get out and experience something else. You know, I've lived in 13 different states as a football coach and football player. I've chased this game around everywhere, starting with when my parents were moving around. And the experience of being in all those different places was unbelievable. I have friends from all over the country, acquaintances from all over the country, experiences that I wouldn't have gotten if I'd have stayed in one place. And I think some of those kids saw that they'd always have their family and friends at home and they could always go home, but if they didn't take a chance and try something like this, that's all they'd ever know. And I think we did a good job identifying the kids that would be willing to go out of state, and then several guys on our coaching staff, especially Coach Fish, did a good job making it happen.
How unique was the in-home visit with Nash up in South Dakota?
Well, we were never in a home, so that was unique. Pheasant hunting's a little easier in South Dakota right now than it is in Nebraska. There's a lot of birds up there. Probably my favorite home visit ever. We walked into a shed, looked at a bunch of whitetail antlers and some other hunting paraphernalia, and had something to eat, talked for a while, went out and walked 1 quarter-mile strip of uncut milo and limited out, and went home and hugged, and we got back on the plane. So that was unique, and Nash is a unique guy, and we're thrilled to have him on our football team.
What did it mean relatively early on in this class to get a cornerstone type player like Turner Corcoran?
Well, we fought hard for Turner. We had to start fighting early on for him. You know, I have to give a little bit of credit to his high school basketball coach that's a huge Nebraska fan and helped us along the way. But Turner hit it off with us. Turner hit it off with Coach Austin. You know, we're just up the road from where he lives, and he's as good offensive lineman as I saw on tape in the entire country. And we knew we weren't going to have very many spots for O-linemen. Ended up getting 2, both from the state of Kansas, that we feel great about. And Turner really was the cornerstone for this whole recruiting class.
What do you like about the 2 running backs that you signed in this class?
First thing I like about them is when I'm on the phone or FaceTime with them, they just always got a smile on their face. They make me happy. So they're the type of kids that I want to be around. Marvin Scott, I think, is as physically developed of kid as we have in this class. I mean, from a physical standpoint, I think he's ready to come in and play college football immediately. Really strong, really well built, in good shape. I think he's going to be prepared to come and compete and contribute right away. Savion, same type of kid, always has a smile on his face. I just love talking to him. Savion's a complete back. You know, I think at times this year, if we were going to run certain plays in our offense, we wanted one guy out there, and if we were going to do other things, we needed another guy out there. And it makes life a lot easier as a play caller if one guy can do all those things. And Savion's that type of running back, catches it well, runs it well, has speed, can run between the tackles with his size. So he's really an all-around guy.
How would you characterize the quarterback competition that Logan's walking into? I mean, this is so wide open.
I can tell which article you're going to write. You know, we felt like there's quite a few positions that we needed to upgrade, improve, and fix when we walked into North Stadium. Quarterback's one that we've gotten right, and we've gotten it right pretty fast. You know, we did a good job getting Adrian here. I think people can see the type of talent Adrian has and all the plays that he's made wearing a Nebraska uniform. Noah Vedra, when he got his shot, was lights out, and as good a kid as there is on our football team. You know, the whole state's excited about Luke, and we are too. So we have 3 good ones in the program, and some other guys that are doing well. Matt Masker and from Kearney Catholic, right in the Lou Platte. And you know, it's a crowded room right now. That can change quick. You never know what's going to happen through injury or anything else. But we're going to play the best guy at every single position, and people get caught up on quarterback competitions. There's a competition every day at every position, and all those guys are going to get a chance to show what they can do, and we're thrilled to have all of them on our team.
When you went into places like Oklahoma and Alabama, and, of course, a lot of guys in Florida. What did you get, what kind of sense did you get about the feelings about Nebraska football in those places that are somewhat hotbeds for college football today?
Yeah, it was awesome for me to go around all those places and have people tell me, man, Coach, we can see it coming. Man, you're close. Man, a couple more pieces and you guys are there. And that wasn't us saying those things. That was coaches and players in other places recognizing it when they're watching games. And if we were a few pieces short or coming up just a little short in some games this year, hopefully we got a bunch of those pieces in this class. And it's important for us to, if we want the team that everybody around here wants, to keep stacking recruiting classes like this and making sure we have talent and depth at every spot.
Scott, this is year 3 for you with recruiting classes. Put this in perspective. Where is this program headed?
I don't have any different opinion where this program's headed than I did when I took the job. We knew it was going to be a lot of work. We knew it wasn't in the best place. And there was a lot of things that we were going to have to do to make the program look like we wanted it to look. You never know how fast those results are going to come, and that's why when you guys ask me questions, I say I just want to be better than I was yesterday, and we want to be better than we were yesterday. I think we're going a long way to addressing these things. You say it's our 3rd recruiting class. The tough part about the first recruiting class is we had about 3 weeks to recruit it, and I think we did really well in some areas and missed on some other things, and did the best we could in a short amount of time. But this is really the 2nd class we've had where we've had a whole year to work and make sure we're getting the right guys and people that fit us. And I think between guys we got in that first class and these last 2 classes we put together, it's really starting to look like it needs to look from a talent perspective.
Any resolution, talk about resolution with Maurice Washington if he has a path back?
We're actually going to meet with Maurice tomorrow and try to come to a little bit of resolution on what's going to happen, and I'll have more for you after that. Yeah, we had a lot of guys that had minor surgeries just to get things cleaned up. Had quite a few guys that were tough and playing through some things at the end of the year. So there's several guys, including Adrian, that had minor surgeries and, well, no surgeries, minor. They had surgeries, and we're expecting all of them to be back for spring ball.
How much more hurt was he than maybe we as the media or fans were?
Well, we don't talk about that stuff, and all I'll tell you is I think the kid's a trooper for battling through what he battled through this year, and he's not alone. Several other guys were gutting things out and fighting for the team, and that's football. I've had 7 surgeries as a football player, and you come back healthier and better every time you get one, and I think a lot of those guys' play will improve when they're 100% healthy.
Will you be good for spring, Adrian?
Yeah, everybody that had surgery, I think, will be ready for spring ball.
Scott, do you have anything you can say about the 2 guys, the 2 former guys who were in court last week? And there were accusations that were made against them that went back before they were removed from the team. Did you have any knowledge of any of those before August?
Yeah, a lot of those things are things that I can't talk about publicly. All I can tell you is the minute we were made aware of any accusation, we funneled it to the person we're supposed to report Title IX issues to, immediately suspended them indefinitely from the team and removed them from all football activities, and then we let Title IX and authorities do their job.
If there's a Title IX investigation that you don't initiate, if it comes from someone else, are you made aware of that in any way if it doesn't start with you?
I think if it has to do with our football players and it's serious enough, then they'll make me aware. And so, but in this situation, the minute we were aware of anything, and that came from a separate source, we reported it appropriately, and that morning suspended them indefinitely.